What's going on, everybody? Respawn Gentleman here. So with the release of Dead Island 2, there's been a lot of people asking how it compares to Dying Light 2. So in today's video, I break down each one and give you my thoughts. Beware of in-game spoilers for both games. The story of Dying Light 2 is honestly kind of subpar. You play as Aiden, who's come to the city trying to find his sister that he was separated from 15 years ago. The only thing he cares about is completing this goal, and everything he does is in service to this, and the other characters take advantage of that. You get dragged around doing all sorts of things that aren't even relevant to finding your sister, and are basically being told your princess is in another castle at every turn. You finally find her at the literal very end of the game, and she dies immediately no matter which ending you choose. This makes the entire plot seem pointless since Aiden leaves the city as well. There's no real attachment to any of the characters in my opinion, so the ending doesn't even really feel that impactful. For Dead Island 2, you play as one of 6 generic characters that are initially trying to escape the city for various different reasons, but at the end of the game, that plot point is dropped completely and you decide to stay. Throughout the course of the game, you meet Emma and Sam B, and from that point, it's basically just finding a way to get them out instead. There is a group of potential villains that are introduced, and then nothing happens with them at all. You do meet a doctor that says he's trying to look for a cure, only to find out that he actually is the one who started the outbreak, and the cure was essentially to create superhumans. The story can be a bit predictable and campy, but it feels like watching a B-list zombie movie, which is just meant to have fun and not be super serious. Of the two stories, I do enjoy Dead Island 2's better, even though it's incomplete and is very short. So this point goes to Dead Island 2. Dying Light 2's replayability consists of going through New Game Plus multiple times. This is fine in other games, but with how long it can take to do everything on the map in your first playthrough, it seems more of a slog to get through again. That said, you do get a way to max out your health and stamina by doing a New Game Plus. All the equipment like the paraglider and grappling hook are restricted to story progress unlocks, and you have to go through everything again to gain access to them. Now, I've actually gone through multiple New Game Plus playthroughs, since once you beat the game, there's not really much else to do. If Techland could add more in-game content, that would increase the playability a lot. Dead Island 2, on the other hand, is a bit different. There is no New Game Plus at the time of recording this video, so you have to start a new character from scratch in order to play through the story again. It's good that the story is short, so you won't have a huge amount of time that you put into one playthrough. However, nothing really changes other than a few voice lines from whichever character you choose. Once you do complete the game, there are some side quests that open up, but they're really able to be completed so quickly it feels like Dan Buster was just trying to find something for people to do. Of the two games, I feel like Dying Light 2 has more content that can be replayed, so it gets the point this time. Dying Light 2 is a mix of zombie combat and parkour, which is one of the unique things about the first game that made it so great. The feeling of being able to use verticality to your advantage or just charging straight into a group of enemies is also great. You have a lot of versatility in how you approach situations. The combat is fast-paced and allows you to cut up or smash your enemies with ease, especially at higher levels with better equipment. Nighttime also brings a change in how you play, since that's when the tougher special infected come out, and with the night update happening in June, that will change even further. There's lots of side quests and activities in the game, but they feel mostly the same, and the challenges can be a bit much after a while. Dead Island 2 has a much slower paced combat, which at times can feel comically slow. Instead of running around jumping off walls and doing all sorts of cool tricks, you just swing your weapon and that's about it. Depending on what weapon you use, you can have really fast attacks that barely feel like the zombies notice, or slow 2 to 3 second attacks that stagger basically everything they touch. Now, there is this card system in the game which lets you change up your skills whenever you want, but basically using a block counter build will forego the need for anything else. You'll basically never die as you're constantly healing and do massive damage to every enemy you fight, including bosses. The side quests in Dead Island 2 are fun, even though they're either go find this person or item and kill the big zombie at the end, or go kill a bunch of zombies. You have the option to modify your weapons with all sorts of cool perks and elemental damage, but throwing on an impact mod or using an unmodded gun, or just countering every zombie makes these options completely pointless, other than to increase the damage number on your weapon. These two games play very differently from each other, and not everyone is going to like one or both of them. Dead Island 2 is a lot simpler and the difficulty is almost non-existent, and Dying Light 2 is a bit more flashy and can get difficult if too many zombies are around. This I'm going to put it down as a draw, since it's really down to preference that has to be tried out before deciding which one you like better. Dying Light 2 does not have good weapon variety. It basically boils down to one-handed versus two-handed and slashing versus blunt. Now, it is a fact that the damage numbers for slashing weapons are higher than blunt weapons, as well as same thing with two-handed weapons, but there is a major issue. All of the weapons are basically reskins of the same weapon type. Yes, I know that some have different animations like the katana that look really cool, but they perform basically the same as all other two-handed weapons. Same thing applies to the one-handed weapons as well. On top of this, there are not a lot of different looks to weapons either. Also, the only way to repair weapons is to get an Easter egg item that you may not even find if you don't know where to go for it. Dead Island 2 has a great set of weapon variety. Whether it's melee weapons or guns, there are several categories that each fit under. You can have small weapons and large weapons that attack really fast but don't do as much damage, or you can have small and large weapons that attack slowly and hit harder for more damage. Even the guns have different categories that have different reload times, firing speeds, and damage numbers. Pistols don't do a ton of damage compared to hunting rifles or shotguns, but the ammo for them is everywhere. It feels more like you're in an apocalypse grabbing what you can find and making it better. When modding weapons, each type of weapon will look different even with the same mod. This was a really nice touch that Dambuster added to the game. The ability to repair every single weapon, including broken ones, is amazing, as you never have to worry about losing your favorite one. For this one, I'm giving the point to Dead Island 2. Dying Light 2 has been plagued with bugs and glitches since it was released. Each patch that's released fixes some, but almost always creates more. These have ranged from invisible chests to unobtainable achievements to blocked story progress. Techland has been fixing a lot of these, but it's hard to say if they'll ever fully be gone. Dead Island 2, in my experience of the game, is relatively bug-free. There are occasional times of enemies despawning when you look away from them, or appearing out of thin air right in front of you, but that's about it. No update in the form of patches has yet to come to the game, and it's already been out for over a month. I know that Techland can improve Dying Light 2 as they did with the first game and fix a lot of these bugs. However, Dambuster has put out a more polished game that rarely has game-breaking issues. So this point goes to Dead Island 2. Based on each category I mentioned, Dead Island 2 is the clear winner. However, this does not mean that one is better than the other. Both games are very different and people like different things, which is perfectly fine. Your opinion is the one that matters most to you, so leave a comment down below which you think is a better game and why. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more gaming content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.